Today we're going to be making a little pop-up album. We're going to be using Graphic 45, album in a box. Which looks like this when it comes. You're going to need some ink. I'm going to be using the Let's Get Artsy collection. I'm going to be using the stamp set, the Ephemera assortment, and the tags and frames. 12 by 12 patterns and solids. You're going to need some black cardstock. And then I'll also be using some Graphic 45 black chipboard. So to start with, you're going to need to cut your chipboard. You're going to need 2 pieces of 4.5 by 5. Then you're going to need 2 pieces that are 1 3/4 by 4.5. So on your bigger pieces of chipboard, you're going to want to find the middle, which is 2.5, and then you're going to want to go 1 inch down, and my hole punches don't go that far down, so I just punched a circle and I traced it on. So then you're going to want to grab an X-Acto knife, and you want to cut your circle out. So then your chipboard should look like this. You're going to take your other one, you're going to line them up. You're just going to trace it on the other one. You're going to cut that one out. So now both of your chipboards have a hole in them. So then you're going to take your black cardstock and you're going to cut 8 hinges. These are 4.5 inch long by 1 inch wide, scored in the middle. So take one of your prepared hinges, apply glue to one side of the hinge. Then you want to center it top and bottom on your smaller chipboard. And you want to take another one. So it should look like that. You want to do the same to the other one. So both of your hinges should look like that. And you're going to take one of them and put glue on the other side of your hinge. You want your larger piece of chipboard sitting just on the edge of your smaller piece of chipboard, making sure that they are aligned at the top and bottom. Sometimes I just use my scoreboard to make sure that I'm straight. Then we're going to grab our other side and apply glue to one of the hinges. We're going to set it down and align our chipboard. So it's looking like that. Okay, so now we are going to put glue on the inside of the hinges. Our little circle's up, so we're going to make sure this little circle's up. You want it right on top of your side panel. Making sure it's even. Apply glue to this inside hinge. burnishing down. So that is what we have so far. Okay, on the other 4 hinges, you're going to apply glue to both sides. And you're going to glue them inside in each corner. I've already done the other 3. You just want to burnish down real good. Pressing it into the corner. Now grab a sheet of patterns and solids of Let's Get Artsy, and you're going to cut 2 slightly under 5 inches wide by 5 3/4. On the 5 3/4 side, you're going to score at 1 3/8 on both. Then you're going to cut 2 side pieces. And these are 1 3/4 inch wide by 5 inches. And on the 5-inch side, you're going to score at 4 7/8. You're going to miter the corners on all 4 pieces. And then for the inside, you're going to cut 2 1 5/8 by 4 3/8. And then you're going to cut 2 4 7/8 by 4 3/8. Then you're going to grab some ink. I'm going to use marine blue. You're going to ink around all of your pieces. You want to take your inside pieces first, which is the ones without the flap. You want to apply glue. You want to glue this in evenly onto the chipboard. So glue all 4 inside pieces in. I'm going to grab my X-Acto knife. I'm going to cut my circle into little triangles on both sides. Then I'm going to put a little glue around my circle. I'm just going to push the little pieces through. Just bending them around the circle on both sides. Then I'm going to take my outer paper. I'm going to put glue on one of the sides down to the score line, not getting any on my hinge. Centering that on my side chipboard. Making sure that my hinge is flush with the edge and bends down. Same with the larger ones with the flap. Put glue on the bigger piece all the way down to the score line. Centering your pattern paper on top of your chipboard. Making sure your score line is flush with the bottom. Move to our other side. So now I'm gonna poke in my hole. I'm gonna put glue on my finger and smear it around the hole on the inside, and then bend my little pieces in. Then burnishing them down so that they're pretty flat. So it looks like that. And then I'm going to work on the other one. Then I like to go and ink my hole a little. So we're going to set this aside so it can finish drying. So now grab your album in a box, and you're going to remove the loose pages. We will not be using these. And I am going to carefully remove this pocket. And I'm just going to set that aside and save it. I already know that the closure is going to be my top. So I'm going to grab a piece of Let's Get Artsy Patterns and Solids. And I'm also going to be adding a handle to the top of mine. So to start with, I cut a piece of pattern paper at 5 1/4 by 5 1/2. And that's going to go on the front with the flap. And I have inked around my paper using Classic Black by Graphic 45. Keeping my pattern up. Burnish down. Okay, for the side panels, you're going to cut 2 pieces of pattern paper at 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. You're going to ink around all the edges. Center it on your side panel. Burnish down. Then do your other side. Center it. Okay, the bottom pattern paper is 5 1/4 by 2 inches. You want to center it on the bottom. So now we want to go to the back. We want to cut a piece that is 5 1/4 by 5 3/8. Apply glue. Center it and burnish down. So that is our box so far. So we have our top left. So we're going to grab a top piece of pattern paper that is 5 1/4 by 1 7/8. You want to ink it, apply glue. So now for this little flap, we need to cut a piece of pattern paper that is 1 inch by 5 1/4. But I'm going to add a handle to mine. 2 little brads out. I think I'm going to use the bigger handle. So I want to center my handle. And I'm going to mark where my brads go. And I'm just going to grab a piece of scrap paper. I'm going to add those on under the brads, just maybe for a little more support. So I'm going to grab my piercing tool. I'm going to pierce where the brads go. I'm just going to add glue to the back of this and place it over my circle on both little holes we poked. I'm just going to put my handle on this. Then I'm going to add some double-sided tape. Then I'm going to add glue. Then you want to center your handle and glue it down. And burnish it down real well. Push on your brads. Okay, now for the inside of the box, which I cut up a piece of Patterns and Solids. You're going to need to cut 2 pieces of 5 1/8 by 5 1/8. Then you're going to need to cut 3 at 1 3/4 by 5 1/8. And then for the little flap inside, you're going to need to cut 1 inch by 5 1/8. We're going to glue these in along the inner sides. Centering them on your chipboard. And we're going to take this little 1 inch strip. So now we're going to grab this center piece. We're going to grab some score tape. So then I added score tape to all of my hinges, to the top and bottom, right up to the score line, because we are going to glue this right in the center here. You want to be very careful when you glue it, making sure it's center and that it will still close. An easy way to do this is to close one side of your box and set it in there, and that way you know you're even. So then I'm going to fold the two side hinges in, and I'm going to put glue on each of the larger hinges. So then I'm going to carefully lay down one hinge and fold the other one on top. You're going to want your bone folder. So put it in your box at the very top. Close your box and let it slide down, making sure it's evenly spaced. And then burnish down. Just want to double check. That way if you have to pull it up and adjust it before it's completely dry. Mine closes nicely. I messed up and I had to rip my other pattern paper out, so I cut 2 new pieces of pattern paper and I inked them. And then I cut a hole in the top, a 1/2 inch hole, 1 1/4 inch down at 2 1/2 in on both of them. So they're gonna go in my box like that. Then I cut a 12-inch piece of ribbon, and I'm going to feed it in that side and through this side. And I'm going to put it through the hole in my pattern paper. And I'll work on this side with the lip around it first. So we're going to put score tape about 1 1/4 inch down from the top. I put several pieces because I don't want my ribbon to move. So then I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm going to stick it down to my score tape. Then I'm going to put more score tape right on top of that. Remove your backing. Then I'm going to apply glue to my pattern paper. I'm going to pull the ribbon through. And I want to center this on the chipboard. Burnish down. So if you pulled your ribbon out, just feed it back through. Okay, on this side, I like to center my piece of pattern paper and trace your circle. Okay, so then make sure your paper's up and feed your ribbon through the hole. I just clip mine up while I'm working on this side. Then you want to put score tape covering your circle. I usually just cover the top half of the circle I traced. Okay, for the other side of the ribbon, I made a little mini album that will slide down in my chipboard center. And I just want to make sure my measurements are right. So then I have it closed up. I'm going to pull that snugly so my book stays all the way down inside. And then I want to bend this one forward. And stick it down. So I know that's about where I want it. And you can check if it works, which it does. Makes your book pop out. If you close this side, it gives you just a little bit more work room. So I'm going to add more score tape to my ribbon. Remove the backing. Now I want to apply glue to my pattern paper. And I want to slide my ribbon through and center my pattern paper. Burnish down, especially where the ribbon covers the score tape. And I just slide my mini album in. And if you watch, you can see how the ribbon pushes the book up. So I'm going to grab some pieces of ephemera from the Let's Get Artsy Tags and Frames and Ephemera assortment. Put a little glue on the back of the paintbrush. I'm I'm just going to put the paintbrush on the side panel. Have a little stamp. I'm just going to put kind of to hide my circle I cut. I have another stamp. You want to make sure everything you put on these inside flaps is thin and doesn't cause any bulk. So that is how I'm going to finish the inside of my box. I will have a complete tutorial up on my YouTube channel for this mini album. I will be doing a full walkthrough in another video. From the Ephemera assortment, I chose these 3 stamps. I put an eyelet in each one at the top and put some string on and a little clip. And I'm going to just clip that on the handle. So they can just dangle either on this side or you can have them on the front of it. I think I'm going to do a little bit more decorations on the front of my box, so you'll have to come back for the walkthrough. Thank you for watching.